In the original game, Isaac Clarke barely survived the events of Dead Space, having to use every tool and advantage at his disposal in order to make it through. Isaac was uniquely equipped to deal with a lot of the threats in the Ishimura, with specialized tools, being an engineer, being able to fix multiple different parts of the ship, being equipped with a suit that can be in zero gravity and in the vacuum of space. And with that being the case, I've taken characters from other games such as Leon and thrown them into the same situation to see how well they would fare in comparison to our boy Isaac. And so I thought I would do the same today, except with not just a single character, but with a whole team, that being Delta Squad from the game Star Wars Republic Commando. Now, to give a full heads up, there might be some spoilers throughout this video, so if you have not played Republic Commando, please go do so. It is one of the best Star Wars games ever made. It was recently ported to current gen and it's pretty cheap, so this is your final warning and no excuses, go play it. And of course, if you guys enjoy content like this, I have other videos on the channel that are very similar, and I have more videos in the pipeline coming out very soon that you guys might be interested in. So if you end up enjoying this video, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, do all that stuff for me. As a small channel, I greatly appreciate it, guys. And without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Did I miss anything important?
No. Did you get the data?
Yeah, they searched me, but I hid the data pretty well.
Where exactly?
You don't want to know.
So first of all, we have to set up the scenario. And the way that this is going to work is we're going to take Delta Team from the end of the game, right before the final mission on Kashyyyk, and we're going to throw them at the very beginning of Dead Space, just like how Isaac started. However, a couple weeks back when I did that Isaac and Leon swapped places video, one thing I said was that Leon isn't an engineer, he's not going to be trying to get to Aegis 7 to fight the hive mind, or fix the ship, or do any of those different things. He would just want to go to the escape pods and just get off the Ishimura. And I kind of regret that. The entire point of these videos is to see how other characters would fare in different situations. So we want to put them up against as many of those obstacles as possible. So giving them a cheap way to just kind of get around massive obstacles and chunks of the adventure or story, just because it would be out of character or we can't come up with a hypothetical reason for them to do so, just feels kind of cheap and kind of goes against the point of the videos. So we are going to have Delta Team go through the entire journey just as Isaac did. And before we get properly started talking about the journey on the Ishimura, we gotta talk about Delta Team for those who may be unfamiliar with them. The opening of the game features the clones in training on Kamino at the very early stages of their life, and being told that they're going to be a step above their other more common clone brothers in pretty much every single way possible.
You will be superior to your more common brethren.
Members of Delta Team include a boss who is the playable character within the game, but also the leader of Delta Squad. He's an expert strategist, and he leads the entire team. Next up is Scorch, the demolitions expert. After that, we have Fixer, who is a computer systems specialist. And finally, we have Sev, who's an expert marksman with a sniper rifle. Now within the game, every member has access to the same weaponry, with their primary weapon being the DC-17 blaster rifle, which has a frame that's highly customizable, also supporting a sniper and grenade launcher attachment. They also carry a few different grenade types such as the standard thermal detonator, EMP, sonic grenade, and flashbangs. But if that wasn't enough, their armor comes equipped with wrist-mounted vibro blades capable of piercing through droid armor, not to mention the shields their armor provide as well. Now when it comes to the Ishimura, the main threat the commandos are going to be going up against are of course the necromorphs. And as most of you guys know, they're pretty much immune to all body shots or headshots and have to be dismembered to be taken out effectively. So with that being said, how effective are the commandos' weapons? Well, luckily for Delta Team, their blasters fire ionized plasma, which is exactly the same projectile most of Isaac's weapon use, including the plasma cutter. And some of you may be thinking that unlike Isaac's weapons, we don't usually see the blasters in Star Wars dismember people, so they might not seem like they fire with enough kinetic force to blow limbs off. However, in Republic Commando, this is clearly shown. The sniper attachment of the DC-17 can blow a Geonosian's torso off, and even the standard configuration can shred the armor of a super battle droid. And I don't think I have to bring up the grenade launcher attachment, that kinda speaks for itself. Even if a necromorph is capable of getting within melee range of any of the commandos, They're all experts in hand-to-hand combat, and with the vibroblades could easily cut them apart. And now that we know that Delta Squad's primary weapon would be effective at dismembering necromorphs, would they know to do so? Well, even ignoring the fact that there's a message on the wall of the third room of the game, all of Delta Squad and especially Boss are expert strategists and tacticians. Within the first encounter, Boss would immediately recognize that body and headshots aren't effective, so no matter how you slice it, Delta Squad is going to figure this out extremely quickly. As they progress through the Ishimura, many doors and areas will be in lockdown or require a way to open them. And in the original game, this is typically where Kendra comes into play, as she was the team's computer systems analyst. Luckily, Delta has Fixer, whose entire specialty is slicing computer and ship systems, and since the Star Wars universe is far ahead in technology compared to the Dead Space verse, this shouldn't be too tall of a task for him. Now, of course, it's not one-to-one. Just because you can slice systems you're somewhat familiar with doesn't mean you can for a system or ship you've never seen before, but I don't think it's far-fetched for Fixer to be able to figure it out. One obstacle I was worried about when researching for this video were the multiple areas of the Ishimura that are exposed to the vacuum of space. However, in Republic Commando, when Delta Team is assigned with investigating the prosecutor, it's just straight up stated that their suits are pressurized and they jump out into space. So the numerous areas of the ship with no oxygen or gravity shouldn't prove an issue for the commandos.
Two of you. Delta Squad, prepare for low-gravity infiltration. Seal your suits. Good luck.
It's actually kind of crazy that this would be the second time Delta Squad had to investigate a ghost ship where communications were down and almost everyone on board was dead. So in a weird way, they kind of have experience with a similar situation, minus the necromorphs or marker, of course.
Where are we?
Changing visor mode.
What the? You've got to be kidding. All right, this is getting serious.
In that same mission during the rescue of Scorch, the prison wing of the ship is flooded with poisonous gas, and it's once again shown that the commandos' suits protect them, meaning that the Weezers and hydroponics would also have no effect on them.
Squad, poison gas. Secure helmets.
Heavier enemy types such as the Brutes shouldn't be much of a threat either, especially for Scorch. With thermal detonators and his grenade launcher attachment, he should have no problem making light work of them. One issue I do see is the Hunter, but honestly, as soon as they realize they can't permanently take it down, the situation should play out just like it did for Isaac, with Delta Squad finding the docked shuttle and having Fixer start the engines to send the Hunter into the fucking Shadow Realm. While necromorphs themselves are pretty intelligent, working similarly to the xenomorphs, which get their orders telepathically from a far more intelligent queen, or in the case of the Necros, the hive mind, most of their tactics include ambushing or playing dead, both of which should be no issue for Delta Squad to recognize and deal with, considering they have years of experience fighting much smarter enemies that use far more advanced battle tactics, and if Isaac could survive these methods of attack, so can Delta Squad. Not to mention, unlike Isaac, who had little to no combat experience and was only a single person, Delta is going to be moving much more strategically, with Boss issuing commands to his brothers, making sure they move throughout the ship in the most optimal and tactically sound way possible. So far, the necromorphs, with the exception of the Hunter, shouldn't be much of a problem, and we've established that their suits protect them from the vacuum of space and poisonous gases. But what about the influence of the marker?
Because what are you here for? To worship me? Kill yourself. I mean that with 100%, with 1000%.
We know that it affects everyone differently. Characters like Isaac can have a much stronger resistance than others, but for most people its influence is a lot stronger. Some clones are shown being able to resist the influence of the inhibitor chip that are implanted within them, however no member of Delta Squad has ever been shown capable of this. With that being said though, they are far stronger willed than not only their more common clone brothers, but Isaac Clarke himself, and much more battle hardened. So I think you can make a decently strong argument for Delta Squad keeping it together long enough to get the job done, though when it comes to how the marker affects people, most of the time it kinda just comes down to an estimated guess. Once touching down on Aegis 7, Delta should have very little issue taking out the hive mind, considering Isaac could do it with very similar weaponry. This might be the first time where I feel really confident in one of these videos saying this team should survive Dead Space. Honestly, it kind of feels like Delta Squad was built for this, having weaponry similar to Isaac, being far stronger and more experienced, being able to survive all of the harsh environments the Ishimura can throw at them, and kind of having experience with a similar situation back on the Prosecutor. So all in all, it's another completed mission on Delta Squad's record. Let me know what you guys think about Delta Squad surviving the events of Dead Space down in the comments below. And if you don't think they survive, then give me some reasons why. Do you think it's the marker influence? Do you think there's a necromorph type that could take them out? Let me know. Don't forget to leave a like if you like the video, sub to the channel, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.